Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That's my favorite quote by Carl Jung. He's the father of modern psychoanalysis. And today we're going to discuss exactly how to make the unconscious conscious. But first, why should we uncover hidden parts of our subconscious? Why should we make the unconscious conscious, as Carl Jung put it? If you don't make your subconscious conscious, then you don't know who you really are. If you don't know who you really are, then you don't know what you really want. If you don't know what you really want, then you don't know your purpose in life and you will struggle to find meaning. You'll also struggle to fit within the framework of reality if you don't understand who you really are internally. This is because it's established science that 95% of our behavior is directed by our subconscious mind. And this happens whether or not we understand our subconscious. This is why Carl Jung said our unconscious mind will direct our life and we will call it fate if we're unaware of what is within us. If we are aware of what parts of our subconscious are not serving us, we can then use cutting edge methods to rewire those parts of us so that they do serve us. But you cannot change what you're not even aware of. Self awareness is therefore the gateway to living the life you want. So, how do we get this inner awareness? First, we must understand how our subconscious mind develops and what a subconscious program is, and how our subconscious mind directs our life. Our subconscious mind communicates to us through instinct, intuition, and emotions. That's also how it directs and controls us. So everything we feel comes from our subconscious. You can have two different people who are in the exact same situation, but they have different subconscious beliefs and they will have different emotions and reactions in that same situation. For example, if you think of two skiers at the top of a mountain. The one on the left is overjoyed. He can't wait to go skiing. He says, "Oh, this is fresh powder and I'm so excited. I can't wait." The guy to his right is terrified. He says to himself, or he feels or believes, "I'm going to crash. I'm going to break a leg. This is terrifying." Exact same situation, two different subconscious beliefs. So, how do these subconscious beliefs form? Well, almost all of them form in childhood. And what happens is we're born into this world, and as babies, we do have a little instinct. But beyond that, we really know nothing about this world. And so, what we're doing is as babies and children, we are observing the world around us and we're trying to figure everything out. And we're just taking everything in. And anytime something notable happens, we interpret what that thing means. We draw conclusions, we form beliefs. Oh, my mom gave me a hug. What does that mean? Oh, it means she loves and values me. That's good. Oh, my dad yelled at me. What does that mean? Well, I need to figure out what I did wrong. I did something wrong. I need to not do that again. Or you touch a hot stove. You learn that, okay, hot stoves are dangerous. So we're forming all these beliefs about the world around us because as babies and children, we're trying to figure out and learn what we need to learn to successfully survive and navigate in these worlds. And so these beliefs and interpretations about ourselves and others and the world around us that form in childhood, they become subconscious programs. And the most powerful subconscious programs, some are just kind of automatic habits, and those can be reprogrammed with consistent effort. But the ones that can be the most difficult to change unless you use some advanced techniques such as superneuroplasticity, which we've talked about previously, the most powerful subconscious beliefs are beliefs tied to feelings. And a subconscious program really is two sides to one coin, a feeling and then a belief or a narrative that's attached to it. And so what happens is as adults, all these beliefs formed in childhood, and unless we change them very intentionally using special techniques, for the most part, they will be static. They can be changed, yes, but absent special techniques, for the most part, they will stay static the rest of our life. So what happens as adults is we go through the world as adults. We have all these beliefs tied to feelings inside of us. And anytime there's something in the outside world that is a match for a belief in us, if it's tied to a feeling, that feeling gets triggered. It gets spiked. It comes to the surface. So, for example, You may have a feeling or a belief tied to a belief that says, when I fail, that means I'm a failure. Believe it or not, there's many people who don't have that belief. There's at least some people who believe, hey, when I fail, I'm just learning. I'll do it right the next time, or at least I'll get better at it, or I'll learn and get closer to success the next time. So I'll just keep on going. They can have that in their subconscious. But if someone has a belief tied to a terrible feeling that when I fail, it means I'm a failure, then they feel in real life that painful feeling gets triggered. And so our brain doesn't want us to feel pain, including emotional pain. So it does all these things to modify our behavior, get us to avoid feeling. And that's, for example, where procrastination comes in, or you have all this anxiety, or maybe resistance, or maybe you just play video games, or you drink alcohol to just numb stuff out. Or if they're shame-based feelings, you could project them onto others because you don't want to face them. It's like hot potato. I put it onto you. It doesn't work, but it is a defense mechanism. So because subconscious programs, at least the ones that really affect us, are beliefs tied to feelings, conversely, what that means is that every feeling has a belief tied to it. It has a message or a narrative. Every feeling means something. And this is key to learning what is in our subconscious. Because when we connect to our emotions, we can then intuitively derive the belief or narrative tied to that feeling. I use a type of belief elicitation method. It's part of my subconscious optimization system. And I'm going to show this to you now. By the way, the subconscious optimization system, it's free. There's a free basic plan. And you just join my community right there. You sign up for free. It's a 6-part course. You take the course for free, and it will show you all this. But I'm going to show you a portion now so that you understand how to decipher your feelings and find out the subconscious beliefs that are tied to your feelings. Now, this is a skill. It does get better the more you use it, but many people can get results right away using these techniques. Some people, a few people, will need one-on-one guidance. Most people will have some success from the start. Developing this skill of connecting to the internal beliefs tied to your feelings builds more and more self-awareness over time. And when you then use superneuroplasticity to rewire your brain, you then have the power to optimize your subconscious mind and take control of your inner world. It changes everything. So let's show you what we do so you can start deciphering your feelings and the subconscious beliefs that are tied to them. So here we have what's called a descriptive word list. Now, there's actually what we focus on, and what you want to fix in you is subconscious trauma. Subconscious trauma is maladaptive subconscious beliefs tied to painful feelings. There's actually 5 types of subconscious trauma. You can see 3 of them here, and we go by category, but I'll just name 5 real quick. The first is toxic shame. Number 1, you feel at your core you are intrinsically in some way not good enough. Here is a list of words that are possible matches for how you feel and what you believe inside. So it's almost kind of like multiple choice or true or false. You look at each word, and this is going to be intuitive. Does this seem like a match for you? Does it feel right for you? Or no, that's not me. And so you can see here, we highlighted, for example, if you go through this list, you feel you're falling short, you're not good enough, you're inadequate, or you feel like you're an imposter, a fraud, weak, or a loser. Say you go through this list and those words resonate with you. Now, just so you know, to not keep you in suspense, the other type of subconscious trauma, there's 5, is number 2, toxic shame. Number 2, you feel like you don't belong or fit in. You're not accepted by others in some way. You're too different, etc. So there's a list of words for that second category. The third category is you feel you can't get what you want. Maybe you're not allowed to. Maybe you're not capable of getting it. Maybe you get it, but you feel it's going to be taken away. Maybe it's wrong or bad to have it. You're too weak to get it. And there's the 4th trauma, trapped anger, resentment, or rage. And there's some descriptive words for that. And then number 5, the 5th type of subconscious trauma is not feeling safe. There's a list of words for that too. But let's just go through the first one here. So you see I highlighted these, and you would do this. Again, this on my website, go there, sign up for the program, same thing. It's all free. You highlight what is a match for you. When you're done with that, we go on to the second phase here. So what you do, you can see here, is every word we highlighted, I put at the top, but it's more or less I'm the descriptive word you highlighted, and then because. I'm falling short because. I'm not good enough because. I'm inadequate because. I'm ill because. I'm weak because, etc., etc. And then you're going to follow certain rules to complete these sentences and write out what is the message tied to all these feelings that are attached to this. Now, the rules we follow, number one, is you only talk about beliefs and feelings that resonate with you. You don't talk about any current events. If something happens and makes you feel the feeling in today's world, now, currently, that is a trigger. That is not a subconscious program. So you don't talk about people in your world now. You don't talk about your career now when you're writing things out. You only talk about what you believe and feel deep down. You may, in very broad strokes, talk about a job or something you're supposed to do or perform at, etc. But keep the specifics out and really just focus on what you feel and believe inside. Keep in mind that these beliefs formed in childhood. So maybe something formed, you had a paper out as a kid. Okay, but you're not going to be talking about your job now. It's best just to focus on the beliefs and feelings and not current events at all. This is going to be an intuitive process. Do not get overly analytical with this. There are different parts of our brain. The analytical part is prefrontal cortex right here. Not really subconscious, pretty much all just cognitive conscious thinking, although some dreaming and things like that are tied to prefrontal cortex. But intuition, instinct, and emotion, that's what we want to focus on. That is how our subconscious mind influences us and communicates to us. So we want to use that part of our brain, our intuition. Write something down. If it feels right, if it resonates through, go with it. If it feels off, rewrite it until it resonates as true. Too analytical is logical, conscious, cognitive brain. You're not in the subconscious anymore. And you're going to see in this example here, it should be simple and straightforward. It's not going to be, well, this happened, and so this happened, and this happened, and that means this and this and that. It's not going to be like that at all. Again, we leave events out and things that happen we don't even put in here, except in very broad terms. That's how we do it, as you see. So, for example, when I fail, I feel like a failure. Simple, straightforward sentence. It's talking about what you feel and what it means. Others judge and reject me because I'm weird and too different. You're not talking about your girlfriend here or any specific person. You're just talking about in general. Now, it could be a certain type of person. It could be, well, when people I admire judge and reject me, then they do so because I'm weird and I'm too different. That's okay. That's just kind of a class, but you're not talking about any specifics here. And honestly, some people, it is only certain classes of people that will get them triggered. Another example is I'm angry at others and I don't trust anyone because ultimately everyone hurts me or lets me down. Now, you may logically say, well, that's not true because this person's been good to me and that person's been good to me. But again, that's your cognitive conscious mind. That's your experience as an adult. But if you feel that everyone does let you down, even though logically you can deduce that people don't, you go with the feeling, not with the logical analysis. This is based on things that happened to you in childhood that made you form certain beliefs in. Go with the feeling, even if it seems irrational or illogical, or you can prove that it's not true. Ignore all of that. Just go with what is there and what resonates as true for you. We also never refer to the past or future when writing things out. Our subconscious mind doesn't really comprehend time. So if you start using future tense words, I will or I did, it actually lessens, it's diluting what's in your subconscious. Now you can say something that's just kind of on or off, like always or never, but avoid referring to the future or the past. What happens, we have these beliefs in us and they just get triggered. They'll get triggered when you're 20. They'll get triggered when you're 40 or 60. If the program's there, it just gets triggered, regardless of the phase of your life. Now, the next thing I'm going to tell you are the most important by far. If you write something down, and you can write because, which we already did, I feel like a failure because. If you can write more, if you can answer it, write that answer down, but you keep going. If you can then, after I do this because blank, you write it down, and then you can ask what, why, who, or how about anything and answer it even more. You keep going. You keep asking. You keep saying, well, I do this because, and I do this because, or I do this. And you ask, well, why do I do that? Well, I do that because of this. So keep going. Keep asking what, why, who, or how, and keep writing down answers intuitively that are coming to you until you either can't ask anymore or you ask and you just don't know the answer. You may say, oh, I'm incompetent. Okay, why do you feel incompetent? I don't know. I just feel incompetent. Okay, just means you're done. But you want to fully explore what's in your subconscious in the intuitive process. This is how you do it. But again, if you don't know the answer, it just means you're done. You're just exploring and finding out everything in you. This next one, very important. When you're doing this exercise, you always write down the worst thing that resonates as true. You don't write down stuff that doesn't resonate as true. So if you write down you hate yourself, but you really don't write that down. But if you write down, I dislike myself, and the truth is you really hate yourself or deeply resent yourself, go to that darkness, because we need to connect to that so that we can then get it out of you. And it's important, if you want awareness of what's in your inner world, to actually have that awareness and go to that worst case scenario. We have a natural tendency to not want to face these things, but bringing it to the light, it by itself, it can dissipate some of the trauma sometimes. But if you don't become fully aware of what's in you, even the dark parts, you can't get rid of it. You can't heal it. Now, when we're doing this exercise, it's not just to make you aware. We're going to go to the next step of you actually getting some of this, actually all as much as we can out of you, healing it, replacing it with good beliefs that do serve you. And it's important to really just not do more than about a quarter page at a time. If you end up writing out 7 pages or 2 or 3 pages, it's probably a sign that you got too analytical, too much into details, didn't keep it down to the core essence of what's in your subconscious. So don't write out volumes. It's just too much. When we're actually trying to reprogram your subconscious, your brain will lose focus. Keep it to a quarter page at a time. Now, you may have 10 quarter page paragraphs when you're all said and done. You want to group things, into categories that belong together. You don't want to be all over the place. And a good rule of thumb is just, there's 5 categories, 5 types of subconscious trauma. So do maybe no more than 10, highlight no more than 10 of these words per category. And, write down 10 that resonate, and then just write that out into a quarter page or less. And if you got more than a quarter page, okay, we'll split that up in 2. But keep it to a quarter page per paragraph. And when you actually then later go in with a program to clear it, you're going to clear a quarter page worth at time, not any more than that. You don't want to overwhelm your brain, because when you're clearing this, it is going to be deep work and some intense concentration. So you don't want to lose focus. So just to give you an example and kind of, flesh this out for you, I follow these rules. What you'll notice here, if you do this yourself, you may have 3 or 4 descriptive words, and they have all the same reason behind them. When you intuitively write down because, it may be the same thing for all 4 of them. So you just lump them together. So for example, it says here, you see I have falling short, not good enough, etc. Well, I'm falling short because nothing I ever do is good enough. So it means I'm intrinsically not good enough and a loser. So you see, not good enough, falling short, and loser. Those are 3 of the 7 things we highlighted. Well, they're all tied together, same reason for all of them. And so you just lump them together. And then I put, I'm too weak. And again, this is just an example, but this would be how someone actually feels and what the feeling means. I'm too weak because, and then you just intuitively what comes to you. Well, I'm too weak because I often don't stick to a task. I just give up all the time. And then you ask another why. Well, okay, why do you give up? And the intuitive answer in this example, well, I always fall short no matter what. So why even try? And let's say, well, why do you always fall short? Well, that goes up again, in the rules, keep asking what, why, or how. And it's like, well, we already explained why you're falling short. Nothing you ever do is good enough. You can ask, why is nothing I ever do I'm good enough? Well, because I'm weak. Okay, so it's circular. That's fully explored. So we go on. I'm an imposter and a fraud because why? Okay, why? And again, you end up having the same explanation for both. So we just put imposter and fraud together. Well, because I hide my flaws and shortcomings from others. Instead, I put up a front. Maybe we can add that. Instead, I put up a false me or a front so they won't reject me. You can put that in. If they knew the real me, they would see how inadequate I am. You can ask, okay, why are you inadequate? Well, it's already been explained. Well, because, I'm weak and etc. Why are you weak? I don't know. I just am. Okay, so this is complete. We fully explored. We asked what, how, and why as much as we could. We're not referencing the past or the future. We're going to the worst case scenario. We're not pulling any punches here. And yeah, this is pretty brutal. I mean, if someone really feels this deep down and they bring that light, it's working if you actually start to feel some of these bad feelings tied to the belief. That is a sure sign that this is in you. And it sucks to feel that. But when you go to the next phase where you actually clear, number one, acknowledging this has its own benefit, even though it's not pleasant. But then once you're aware of this, you can actually heal it and get out of it. You can do it with my free program. And there's plenty of people who've done testimonials I've already posted on here, how it works, and it's free. So why not try it? But this is the first step. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. It's not pleasant work. It's not easy work much of the time, but this is the first step to taking your life into your own hands so that you can actually start fixing yourself and getting the life you want. And if you don't acknowledge what's in you, you can have all sorts of things happen to you and be clueless as to why and never really reach your full potential. You can reach your full potential, but this is the first step to doing that. So these parts in us that may not be aware of until we do this exercise and that are painful and that we want to hide from and pretend aren't there. And some people will drink alcohol or porn or TV or social media or whatever to distract themselves from these painful parts in us. They are what Carl Jung referred to as our shadow. We intentionally hide from this stuff, or we just don't face it, or we're not aware. Our whole Western society is about go outside of yourself for answers. Take this pill, make this money, do this, do that, get the hot significant other, and get all this outward success, and then you'll be good enough. But it doesn't work. You need to heal your inner world. We have so many examples of that. The three I use all the time: Robin Williams, Marilyn Monroe, Kurt Cobain, all incredibly successful, amazing people, but all incredibly depressed and miserable, and unfortunately ended up self-deleting. So if you're willing to do this work, you can find those parts in you that are painful, become aware of them, heal them, replace them with good programs. If you don't, you can read all these self-help books and have minimal improvement. This is the core. This is the foundation, becoming aware of this stuff in you and then fixing it. If you found this helpful, remember to like and subscribe. We have many more good videos and resources coming your way so you can optimize your subconscious mind. And thank you for watching.